Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the InterTradeIreland online Meet the Buyer event with NI Water. Please welcome your host for this event, Sara Travers.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sara Travers and I'm a broadcaster and journalist here in Belfast, and I'm delighted to be your host for the InterTradeIreland online Meet the Buyer event with NI Water. So a huge welcome to you all wherever you're joining us from this morning. Of course, it would have been so much nicer to be greeting you all in person, but I'm sure you'll agree our virtual studio certainly looks the part. This is the first time the Meet the Buyer format has taken place online, but we hope that you will get the same positive experience out of your day. We will start this morning with a welcome from Ken Nelson, Chairman of InterTradeIreland, and Sara Venning, CEO of NI Water, before providing some interesting panel discussions and interviews with the NI Water team. Now, following the morning session, the NI buyers, Tier 1 suppliers and exhibitor virtual stands will open at 9:30 a.m. and we encourage you to take advantage of all your one-to-one appointments today. We also have a top tips for tendering workshop led by Martin McBride from Envision. That's taking place at 10 a.m. and at 12 p.m. today. So please do join Martin for some very useful insights into tendering correctly. But now, without any further ado, please welcome to the stage InterTradeIreland's Chairman, Ken Nelson, to open the proceedings.
I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing, be my mirror, my sword and shield, my mission.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ken Nelson. I'm Chairman of InterTradeIreland. It's a pleasure on behalf of Northern Ireland Water and ourselves to welcome you to this virtual event. Normally at this point in the proceedings, I look out upon a packed auditorium full of eager people listening patiently to the opening remarks, but secretly hoping for the formalities to end so the real business of the day can begin. However, as we're all too aware, these are deeply challenging times, and we all must adapt to ensure we remain safe and healthy. I'm therefore speaking from the very unfamiliar surroundings of a film studio, where I and those presenting the initial elements of the programme are based. Today's event is delivered remotely using the latest web-based platform technology. I commend the considerable time, effort and resources that many people have invested in designing, developing and delivering this very impressive platform. And we trust that the virtual environment created will deliver a truly positive experience. We're greatly encouraged with the number of companies who registered on the platform, used the information resources provided to be better informed about Northern Ireland Water and its key contractors, and went on to request meetings with a wide range of NI Water budget holders, category and contract managers. Despite the challenges and uncertainties, the strong and enduring working relationship between Northern Ireland Water and InterTradeIreland endures. We're now in our 8th year of working together on this event, and the tangible benefits are clear for all to see. Supporting the island's SME supplier base is at the heart of our endeavours. Winning contracts in the public sector takes time, and preparation for the challenges presented is essential. Providing access and facilitating engagement between suppliers and buyers in this structured environment, this structured process, is to make the process as effective as possible. As an all-island organisation, InterTradeIreland's objective is to maximise economic cooperation between the two economies. Whilst COVID-19 and Brexit have combined to present an unprecedented level of disruption in the economy, public sector markets present a real and growing opportunity for companies. Government services need to be delivered, and this year alone on the island of Ireland, over £12 billion worth of public tenders will be advertised. Opening this lucrative market to Indigenous SMEs is an essential part of our work. I know that it can be daunting and somewhat bureaucratic, but if you persevere, adapt your systems, and become more attuned to the market, the opportunities are substantial. Today, NI Water and its budget holders have contracts with a projected spend of over £100 million over the next 12 to 15 months, spanning across all sectors of business. The pipeline of work planned for the following 3 years is truly substantial. And through attending today, you gain unprecedented access to these extremely valuable contracts that could help develop and sustain your business. The breadth of the opportunities available from NI Water is most impressive. From traditional capital works programs, sewage works, piping, M&E, chemicals, above and below ground maintenance, etc., the list goes on. Opportunities exist in IT, data management, environmental sustainability, energy provision, and digital delivery. Now, I don't wish to steal Sara's thunder, but NI Water constantly requires more innovative solutions to continue to deliver a first-class service. It is an obvious opportunity for local entrepreneurs and their companies to provide innovative and practical solutions. I say this every year, but it's still worth reiterating. This virtual event does exactly what it says on the tin. It creates awareness of the opportunities and provides access for companies to engage with the NI Water professional staff, whether it's budget holders, category, or contract managers. And it's very pleasing that a number of NI Water's Tier 1 suppliers are present. They choose to come because it's to their advantage. They want to meet new potential business partners and explain how the process operates. Every opportunity is being afforded here, so gather information on how to become a potential subcontractor and find out about the subcontracting opportunities. InterTrade Ireland supports companies in both Northern Ireland and Ireland to increase competitiveness and encourage investment and collaboration in technology-led innovation through its various innovation and trade programs. Its award-winning Go to Tender program is a classic example. Over 4,000 local companies have completed this training program, public contracts worth over £600 million won to date, and over 700 jobs created and or sustained. There really is no better support program available. Book a meeting with InterTrade Ireland on the platform to learn more about this and many other supports available. In conclusion, I wish each company here this morning success for the day ahead and for your future business endeavours in this extraordinarily challenging environment. Meeting NI Water's key buyers is only the beginning of the process, and I would encourage you to make the most of this unique virtual opportunity. All the best, everyone, and thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Well, now it's my great pleasure to welcome to the stage Sara Venning, CEO of NI Water.
Hello, a warm but virtual welcome to you all. My name is Sara Venning and I'm the Chief Executive of Northern Ireland Water. I'm delighted to welcome you to the NI Water InterTrade Ireland Suppliers Day. Of course, I would usually be welcoming you all in person, perhaps even enjoying a cup of tea, but over the last 12 months we've all been doing things differently. And whilst that's been a challenge, we are determined to look forward, and this event is certainly all about that. I'd like to say a huge thank you to InterTrade Ireland for their ongoing support and also for being our co-hosts. This event is all about our supply chain, both our existing suppliers who today help us deliver essential water and wastewater services to the people of Northern Ireland, and our future or prospective suppliers who could help us deliver on our exciting plans in 2021 and beyond. We're always striving to improve and find better ways of working that will lead to greater efficiency and improved levels of customer service. We welcome innovative solutions and input from our supply chain to help us achieve this. In fact, we need it. In April of this year, we will embark upon an ambitious 6-year business plan period to 2027, which will see us make a combined investment in operational and capital programmes of over £3 billion with our supply chain. This spend will not only boost economic productivity, but also help to support local communities now and in the future. You can read all about our business plan on our website, and I hope you're able to take the time to do that. At the heart of our plan and our strategy, we have 5 themes: customer, water, economy, nature and people. I can say now with conviction that there is a role for you, an engaged supply chain, and working with us at NI Water to deliver against these 5 strategic themes. At this year's event, you will have a chance to hear more about these opportunities and others at your individual one-to-one meetings with key teams from across NI Water, as well as being able to meet with our Tier 1 suppliers. And I would like to thank those Tier 1 suppliers to BSG, Meridian Utilities, Graham's, McAllister Brothers, CTS and Lowry's for taking the time out of their busy schedules to join us to support our event. You'll also have the opportunity to hear from InterTradeIreland's Go-to-Tender programme trainer at the top tips for tendering sessions, and meet with InterTradeIreland and Invest NI teams at their virtual stands to hear more about their support packages. It seems like everyone is talking about the climate emergency, and we in NI Water like to think that we're doing more than just talking. We have a huge opportunity in Northern Ireland to embrace green growth, and to learn more about this, listen to the panel discussion with the NI Water Energy team, which will be compared by this year's host, Sarah Travers. There is so much packed into our event today, and I thank you once again for taking the time to join us. I'd now like to invite you to watch a short video from a contractor who has been recently successful in securing a contract award with us. You will hear from Serena Hylands, the Business Development Director from CTS and Warrenpoint, and she'll describe how the award is supporting our work, as well as the impact it has had on their business and organisation. Enjoy, stay safe, and we look forward to catching up with you all very soon. In the meantime, let's hear from Serena.
CTS went through a competitive tendering exercise with NI Water, and following an evaluation on price and quality, they came out tops for the area that they're now serving. So far, CTS have delivered against the promises that they set out on their good quality bid, and we would expect that to continue for the duration of the contract.
The Go-to-Tender programme gave us the confidence and practical skills required to bid public works contracts. It facilitated bid, no bid scenarios, which really got the business focused in terms of what bids we really wanted to pursue, like the NI Water contract. Before winning NI Water contract, CTS were not as confident in bidding public works contracts. However, we now feel we have the capability to bid these types of works.
Some of the benefits of working with CTS include their commitment and the enthusiasm they bring to their work for NI Water. CTS provided good, reliable service for NI Water. Their agility and responsiveness to date has been great.
From contract award stage, a mobilisation team was quickly put into place. This consisted of members of CTS as well as NI Water. Despite COVID-19, we were still able to meet up through weekly video calls, and we met key milestones. NI Water staff were absolutely fantastic during this process.
Collaborating with our suppliers is key to NI Water. Since we awarded this contract to CTS, we've been working in partnership with them, and I'm glad to say that our relationship is going from strength to strength. I would strongly recommend suppliers, regardless of their size, to compete for NI Water contracts. Organisations can register for eTenders NI to see what opportunities are available to them. Look, if you're not in it, you won't win it.
We would definitely encourage other companies to apply for NI Water contracts. The professionalism shown by the NI Water staff has been exceptional and has made way for a successful working partnership for the foreseeable future for CTS and NI Water.
Programmes like the Go to Tender programme that InterTradeIreland offer give companies a fantastic opportunity to learn more about public procurement. So whether your organisation is already contracted with public bodies or you're new to public procurement, I would strongly advise you to sign up for a Go to Tender programme. CTS here will bear testament to its benefits.
Welcome back. What a fantastic example of a working partnership between NI Water and CTS. Well, next up we have a panel to discuss NI Water's approach to a carbon neutral future, where we'll be talking about NI Water's approach to sustainable energy use. But before we dive into the panel introductions, I wanted to provide a bit of background. In today's energy world, electricity plays a pivotal role. This will only increase in importance as we start to see a global shift towards clean energy. In recent weeks, this shift has been brought to centre stage with the US President Joe Biden setting ambitious goals to decarbonise the US energy sector by 2035. Closer to home, Northern Ireland has been advised to reduce carbon emissions by over 80% by 2050 to help the UK reach its net zero ambition. Encouragingly, the Northern Ireland Executive launched a consultation on its first ever climate change bill. These are ambitious targets, and it's great to be joined by NI Water to hear more from them on how they are playing their part in achieving net zero. I'm joined now by members of the Northern Ireland Water and Arup team, but I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves to you. Damien, let's start with you.
Hi Sarah, nice to meet you. My name's Damien O'Mullen and I head up the energy team at Northern Ireland Water. I have a background in civil engineering and I've been working in the energy and renewables industry in Northern Ireland for over 10 years now.
Thanks, Damien. Alistair, over to you.
I'm the Business Services Director for Northern Ireland Water, and one of my responsibilities is to help the company to become more efficient, so no better place to start than in energy.
Thank you, Alistair. And on to Pete.
Thanks, Sarah. I'm Pete Gray, and like Damien, I have a background in civil engineering. I work as an associate at Arup, and I work closely with NI Water, helping the team to deliver their extremely ambitious energy programme.
Great to have you here, guys. Well, thanks so much. Let's get started. And Alistair, if we could start with you first of all. NI Water must use an incredible amount of energy across all of their sites. So just how important would you say electricity is to you?
Really, really important. We're Northern Ireland's biggest user of electricity, in fact, and we spend about £30 million a year on it. So it's very important to the company, and of course it's very important in the context of the debate today in society and the need for us to take action on the climate emergency.
And there's no doubt that all of our energy-related investments need to consider how we reduce our harmful CO2 emissions.
And that's what's great about working with NI Water at the moment in this area. They are ambitious to make a difference and they want to do practical things.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of making a difference, what are NI Water's priorities, Alistair?
Well, the first place that everybody starts is in reducing their use. But what we've discovered is that data, and we've got a lot of information, is really, really important in helping us to do that. So that's a big opportunity for us.
And as Alistair said, reducing our use is key. And to do that effectively, we need to monitor and record the energy we're using and how we're using it. This gives us the visibility required to assess the performance of our assets.
We are planning to channel all this information into our Intelligent Operations Centre, which will house all of NI Water's data, all under one roof. This will provide us with an overview of our energy consumption in near real time.
Thanks, Pete. Just to build on that point, we are going to need help from suppliers to create NI Water's Intelligent Operations Centre. Specialists in data and analytics and the presentation of information through dashboards and visual reports are going to be really important for the business. We're also going to need technical expertise to help us install more sensors, meters and control equipment.
I thought you were going to tell me that you wanted to invest in new equipment to become more efficient rather than monitoring. So why the emphasis on monitoring?
Well, we want to do both. I guess you always think about the new equipment, and over the years one of the things that we've learned is we install the equipment, we know it's going to work, we know it's going to be efficient, and then we forget to keep checking and monitoring in as to how it's performing. So we know now that we really must invest in the monitoring that's necessary.
I agree with that. This helps to target investment effectively and maintain the gains. Otherwise, it's like driving a car at night with the headlights off.
How are you going to drive value when you're buying all of these assets?
Well, the one thing we've learned is that price isn't everything. And don't get me wrong, price is really important, but we need to look at value over the whole life cycle of an asset. It means that we need to think about things like operating costs, reliability, as well as the ticket price.
So what other investments are you making as part of NI Water's energy plan? And Pete, I'll come to you on this.
Well, solar generation is becoming more economically viable. I'm sure NI Water will be exploring this option as well.
Absolutely, Pete, spot on. We've had great success in relation to small-scale solar installations across our 55 major sites, and we also have 6 megawatts of solar installed at our Denore wastewater or water treatment works, and we want to do more of this type of work.
I think we've got our own money and we want to invest our own money wisely on the priorities that we can see in front of us. But actually we can see so many more opportunities. We're also really interested in reaching out to the market to find out if there are people out there who want to invest in this equipment and then perhaps station it beside our major assets, connect to our assets and enter into long-term electricity supply contracts with us. So it's about creating an interest in the market for people to want to invest with and alongside Northern Ireland Water.
So wind generation is also a good prospect for Northern Ireland Water and for Northern Ireland in general. We have a number of elevated sites and we want to engage with wind developers to explore this more and to see what we can do to get the best out of the assets that we have.
Battery storage is going to be critical to enabling our electricity system to cope with the intermittency that comes with renewables. There's every prospect that NI Water will be buying batteries in the next few years.
Another area that interests us is in heat recovery from wastewater. It sounds unlikely, but actually there's an expertise in that now that we're recognising is quite prevalent in GB, in water companies across the water, and we're interested in developing that knowledge and harnessing it locally.
So beyond the suppliers of this equipment, are there others who need to play a vital role?
So NIE networks are going to need a lot more flexibility to cope with the intermittency associated with the increased levels of renewables in the Northern Ireland grid. And Northern Ireland Water can play a key role in providing the services required for the facilitation of that increase in renewables. So there's a huge amount of work going on in relation to that, and we want to see as a business what we can do to play our part.
Yes, in the old days, I sound a bit like my grandfather here. In the old days, it was all about a few generators running now and again, particularly through peak demand times. Tomorrow is going to be about many more assets playing a role. The intelligent control of so many pumps and blowers is going to be key.
And that's going to mean back to the point that I was making at the start, really about data and data analysis. We're going to need to understand the potential of our assets, which are spread all over Northern Ireland, pumps and blowers, as Pete mentioned earlier, among others, and how we can harness those.
Well, many people watching will want to know, are there new opportunities for Northern Ireland suppliers to become more involved in these exciting investment plans?
Absolutely, yes, there are indeed. We always want to work with the best advice and equipment, and at times that can take us far away from home, but increasingly we want to harness our local supply chain and delivering solutions for the business.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think we'll go wherever we have to go to get the best solution, but increasingly, we know that working with people locally, building that knowledge, building those business opportunities in Northern Ireland for people to thrive and do well is something that can get us all into a win-win position. And we're very keen to harness that expertise and local knowledge.
We certainly recognise that at Arup. NI Water spend a lot of money on something all societies need, world-class water services. They're they're a great bunch to work with. And I would encourage more suppliers to see NI Water as an opportunity to grow their expertise as well as their business.
Well, listening to you guys talking, it's fair to say that you think that Northern Ireland Water could be really important to Northern Ireland's ambitions to achieve net zero.
We absolutely believe that. NI Water's decarbonisation opportunity allows us to show leadership, but not only to help ourselves, but to enable Northern Ireland to decarbonise. So we want to play our role in the wider decarbonisation.
And NI Water's role could be a lot bigger than most people realise.
I think that's true. I think we're a government-owned public health utility with 3,000 connected sites across the province. We're a reliable utility, and the prospect of us contributing towards Northern Ireland becoming self-sufficient in low-cost renewable energy, which is a really exciting prospect for our economic future, is what inspires us to want to play a part in the bigger picture.
Alistair, Damien, Pete, thank you so much for your time and for joining us on what is a subject that is probably being talked about everywhere at the minute, and indeed over the last few years. And I'm sure that the audience watching today will agree that after listening to the work and to the initiatives that NI Water are involved in, there is no doubt that you and your teams are playing a considerable part in this drive to net zero. So thank you very much for watching as well at home. Thank you to the guys for joining us here today. And if you would like to find out anything more about NI Water's energy plans, you can visit niwater.com/climate change. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah.
We can head off now.
Thank you.
Every time I think I'm voting, I know you're voting too. There's no doubt you're voting. If you ever think you're voting, you know.
Well, thank you to our panel for that very interesting discussion. It's now time for our interview on how digital innovation and technology can have a transforming effect on NI Water and the sector. I'd now like to invite Ronan Larkin, Director of Finance and Regulation at NI Water, to join us on stage. Hello, Ronan. And also we're delighted to welcome Brad Mallard, CTO Fujitsu, who's joining us today online. Hello, Brad. Welcome.
Hi, Sarah. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. So, Ronan, I'm going to leave you gentlemen to have a good chat.
Thank you, Sarah. Brad, welcome and thank you for joining us today at our Meet the Buyer event with Northern Ireland Water, our suppliers, and InterTradeIreland, our partners. You're very welcome. You're joining us from Norfolk today, is that right, yeah?
I am, yeah. Thanks for having me, Ronan. It's great to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your role at Fujitsu.
So Ronan, I'm the CTO for Fujitsu across the Northern West Europe region. So what does that mean? I guess really it's about helping customers and helping organisations and government innovate. So really it's about kind of gaining the best use of technology and ensuring, even more so nowadays, that your employees and your customers' experiences are the very best they can be. And that means looking after people and putting people at the forefront of everything we do. So.
Thank you. It's incredible to think that we've all been working in what we now call the new normal for almost a year now. For you, what's been the most challenging aspects that you've seen in your organisation and your customer base about that?
So it's crazy, isn't it? Just to think, I mean, just a whole year and the world's changed. You know, probably and will never quite be the same as it was once before, you know. I think, you kind of hit the nail on the head already, Ronan, I think, and that is connectedness. It's about, the FaceTime, about kind of being able to be, together and get the very best from people. And I think one of the biggest challenges of that is, well, there's a few challenges actually. So firstly, it's kind of, whilst the advent of technology has been fantastic in enabling people to connect virtually, and we couldn't do this today, probably even a couple of years ago, right? So, but there are some challenges that brings. Mental well-being and mental health, it kind of is a real prime kind of challenge, and kind of looking after people and making sure that their mindset is still good is one of the biggest challenges. I think. Secondly, about kind of making sure people can be creative and you get the same level of productivity or more so. And often productivity is great, but there's nothing like being in the room and be able to kind of co-create together. I find, and that's and technology's come a long way to help that. But there is still challenges, some stuff that you just want to get round the board or to get together to really get the best of kind of the creative mind sort of and the innovative juices flowing as such. So.
Well, and that's exactly right. I mean, all of us miss that face-to-face contact time, and we're doing the event virtually here today. So technology's allowing us to do that. And there's something about getting back creatively, but getting back around, as you say, a whiteboard or a table or whatever, a meeting room, and getting on with creating some things. So there is that creative aspect. We've been looking really closely for a number of years now at Northern Ireland Water around our deployment of technology, our use of data in the business, and thinking about analytics. Is it easy to lose sight of purpose over technology, and how do we avoid doing that?
So it's a great point actually. So whilst data's super important today, right? So again, there's no historic data that can predict the trends we're seeing right now. So data has become even more important than what it was around predicting and using micro trends to understand and make some decisions and gaining insights from what you see today, because usage patterns of water have changed. More people are working from home than ever were before. There's less water going to buildings and facilities. These kind of are challenges for making sure your supply systems and others are optimal in kind of the way it meets the demands of the people. But I think if you kind of take it out of the data for a minute, I think the sense of purpose is really important. Now, if I look back 12 months, almost to the day, right? So kind of the world started to go into the lockdown phase and started to prepare themselves for working differently, not being able to work together in the same location, and that kind of stretched a lot of people in technology systems and the ability to work and getting used to different ways of working. But what I would say is, like never before, every organisation, every customer I've worked with, has kind of built the sense of pace and urgency and achieved far more in days than maybe it would have taken previously weeks or months or even years. So I think the acceleration of digital and digital transformation has been kind of really a benefit of and has kind of accelerated organisations to providing a better service. And I think so that's certainly a benefit and something that's changed radically. But you can't do that. And I think the thing that most organisations now are looking at is, how do you bottle and capture the essence of purpose, the essence of the business and technology departments and the whole organisation being propelled forward at a pace that they've never worked at before? How do you bottle that, capture that, but do that securely and do that well? And I think the essence is purpose. It's so relatable as to the driving forces of what's driven that radical and that pace of change, that is what makes a difference. It's kind of relating to an outcome, related to the bigger purpose, and that's essential if organisations are to maintain that relevance and start to build for the future.
That's interesting. We have a great IT team at Northern Ireland Water, and a year ago, faced with that challenge, we managed to get everything up and running and off overnight virtually. And have there been any standout moments for you where you've seen customers come back to you and say, "Help, we need to do this immediately"?
I mean, the list is extensive, Ronan, if I'm honest, and that's we've really supported customers in many ways, and that is different sectors have been commercial flexibility, contractual flexibility, different terms, but kind of helping that survival of the early stages of COVID. But if I think about customers like Centrica, again, another utility provider, right? So maybe not water, but in electric. So Centrica, we extended their ability to work their entire contact centres from home within a matter of a weekend. So extending thousands of people to work that they couldn't do before. We extended virtual desktops into the cloud, and the cloud and SaaS technologies such as whether it's Amazon or Microsoft or other have kind of given the ability to operate at a completely different pace than's ever been possible. But we've done this in every sector, whether that's the highest levels of security and mission critical systems in the national defence, so Ministry of Defence, for example, public organisations and public sector bodies, right through to retailers. And I think, again, there's some cracking stories really about how we're helping organisations be able to scale and adapt to the flexibility you need in what still remains an unpredictable and uncertain world. So I mean, there's many of those. There's one other point I'll just go in, it's sort of slightly a tangent, but I think is quite interesting, and that is something I'm super proud of, actually, and it's the way we're helping charities and also pointing technology and some of our expertise at supporting early days with the acceleration of the cure for COVID with our digital annealer and quantum sort of inspired technology, and also Fujitsu's supercomputer, what's called Fugaku, which is kind of, we've kind of been supporting academics and research institutes with these kind of technologies that's kind of helping ultimately recover and return to a level of normality for everybody. So.
That's very helpful, and we certainly recognise that shift on customer service to enable everyone who runs our customer service team to be able to work and take those calls and help customers overnight. That shift to home is a thing we recognise. We had to do that as well. If I think about data, we have lots and lots of data in Northern Ireland Water. We've data about customers and assets and employees and all kinds of things that we have, water quality and environmental standards and so on. What are you seeing, in that kind of data explosion that we're seeing? What are the best companies doing to harness that data to use that data and not to go snowblind on data?
Yeah. So data is such a big, broad topic. It's difficult to give you a singular answer, if I'm honest. But I think, firstly, I would say that there is again, because of the lack of predictability and because of the uncertainty the world lives in, the essence of being able to pull multiple data sources together first and then apply more intelligence to it, again, it's been supported by technology and cloud providers, which is kind of ultimately giving that scalability and the ability to do things differently. But enriching data with kind of more social sources and open data is also a really effective manner of being able to look after people and look after the business and be able to drive different insights than maybe you have before. I think one of the challenges, though, I think, and it's quite an interesting kind of part of the topic, is how do you make sure that data is of good quality and is secure? And I think in organisations like yourselves and most utilities and manufacturing organisations, in fact, technology and data is provided through sensors and the edge, or IoT as it might be known. But that's sort of grown in prevalence as a real-time data source, which is kind of got massive amounts of potential, especially with the advent of things like 5G technologies coming. But there's a risk, and I guess there's maybe a question for you in a minute, Rowan, just to see what your views are on this. But operational technology, so the sensors that you've got monitoring the quality of water and the loss of water in pipes and your systems, this operational technology is now so prevalent as a business technology rather than one that's being managed often outside of the confines of compliance and privacy and security constraints in the IT department, which is where it's normally resided. The operational technology is now the front door to cyber risk and cyber threat, and I think we've seen fairly recently the advent of that, and I think it's something that needs to be at the forefront of every business mind. So have you got a perspective on kind of how you manage operational technology?
Yeah, that's one of the challenges at Northern Ireland Water is dealing with right now. So we have a great supplier base. They have access to our sites as they need them. And what we're working on, what we're challenging ourselves with is how do we continue to allow those suppliers access to our systems, our own employees remotely access to those systems, but to make sure that we're growing our cyber security kind of safety zone. That's one of the challenges we're facing. That's something that is our best people are working on. And we know there is this sort of, I guess, this balance between all out cyber or lock it all down and keep it safe. We want to move into this digitized ability to work our assets and allow our employees to do that. But we know we've got to keep the balance right. And what I think we're trying to assess at the minute is where does that balance go to, say, in the next 5 years? How do we stay on the right side of that? That's definitely one of the challenges we're facing right now.
I guess there's also an extension of that maybe, which is in the advent of everybody now working flexibly, working from different locations, working from anywhere, and the prevalence of just getting everybody to work in the first place. There are security holes in most organisations through deployments of technology. People going to the shop to buy their own laptop devices just to be able to work. There's this control and security risk is still prevalent, and from my experience of many organisations, I'd encourage everybody to just kind of maybe start to think about how do we regain control a little of operational technology, but also devices and data where you've got people working in different locations, because data and the security of your data is ultimately a massive reputational risk and something that needs to be at the forefront of everybody's minds, I think.
So we have it front and centre, and it's absolutely on our risk register, one of the things that we want to manage and mitigate away from that security risk. So we know there's a journey to stay digital and relevant and 21st century. We know we have to keep it secure. That's very helpful to see that. If I ask then again around people, so we talked about purpose, we've talked about people. I heard you say creative earlier, and how do you keep creation? How do you keep creative in this kind of distant virtual world? What are the best top life hacks that you can tell us about for keeping our people on side with every new piece of technology or digitization we roll out? How do we keep our workforce close and relevant in all of that?
So there's a few boring answers which I'll give you first, and that's kind of not everybody is gaining the value out of the investments they made in technology. So looking at how you educate, how you train, levelling up your digital literacy across your organisation is a really effective way of just getting more with the same resources you have. There's expertise that can kind of bring and some approaches to drive the best use of learning and development materials, for example. But I think from a life hack perspective, I'm more interested in people, the mindfulness, the mental health side of it in particular. So some really effective things that we've seen are, and they sound sort of silly, but setting your meeting to start at the quarter past the hour, so kind of 12:15 and run to 1 o'clock, rather than doing 12 till 12:45 or something. You tend to find you can get the better use of the first 15 minutes without being interrupted or being tempted to extend into the next, to the top of the hour as such, which is often the gap if you try and do it at the start. So there's a few lessons learned around how people work and how to schedule meetings and find time for themselves. And ultimately, this finding time is really important. So it gives people the time to get out, stretch their legs, otherwise the temptation I find for most of working in this remote location sort of sense is that people fill their day with diary appointments back to back to back to back. And you have to breathe. You have to find time to think. You have to find time to be creative. And ultimately, that kind of means you have to be quite strict and try different ways of creating that time. I mean, we've also sort of seen great experiences of kind of just people booking either regular lunchtimes, days out of a week, kind of where there are no conference calls days, and just trying to sort of play with that a little bit. I mean, there's also maybe something else we've sort of seen real value in, and that is kind of how we use different tools to help with innovation. So talking about kind of life hacks, if you like, I think some of the more modern technologies around collaboration and virtual world technology to be able to bring people together virtually have got much more effective over the last few months. So I think Microsoft Teams and Zoom have already improved, but there's other technologies such as Miro and Verbella or Cube, these sort of technologies that enable you to be able to create the sense of belonging and the sense of collaboration in a sort of slightly more dynamic way than you can through some of the more typical collaboration tools. So it's worth looking at things like that. But Miro is really popular, and I'd recommend that as well. So.
Thank you. There's some new names and terms coming out there, so I'm going to make a mental note and take those away and look into them. Brad, it's been fantastic speaking to you. We could talk for another hour on this, and we're not going to do that today. But we're going to keep tapping in. I think we're going to keep checking in with you and Fujitsu, and just pull out the best of what you're seeing in your world. We're very ambitious at Northern Ireland Water. We want to make a great digital future. We want to digitise our platforms. We want to allow our customers to have access through all those different channels. And we know we've got a challenge there. We want to keep it secure as we're doing that. We want to make sure our supplier base can join us on that transformation and be part of that transformation. And above all, we want to make sure that it's centred around our purpose. So our purpose around nature, our people, customers and water and our economy here in Northern Ireland. We want to make sure that technology is not just for technology's sake. It's about helping us to reach the purpose that we've set for ourselves and our strategic themes here at Northern Ireland Water. Thank you for your time today, and we'll catch up again.
Great, nice. Well, thanks for having me, Ryan. It's been fantastic to speak to you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ronan and Brad. Now, shortly we will ask you all to move on to your buyer's appointments. You will all have received details of how this works, but I'll run through just some of the key features available through the virtual portal today. First of all, you will have all your own personal timeline having logged into the portal. You will see the timeline of all scheduled sessions available for the day. It is also tailored to you and has all your appointments you have requested listed. You just follow your personal timeline and click to move to your next appointment. You will also access the virtual exhibition and meeting hub from this page. You now have the opportunity to go and meet your scheduled appointments with the buyers. To do this, simply visit your timeline and select your appointment. When you attend a buyer's virtual stand, you will be able to view their profile, download brochures, and watch videos before you take part in your appointment. If you want to visit our exhibitors today, which include InterTrade Ireland, Invest NI and the NI Water Info stand, please simply select the stand you wish to visit and you can ask to have a virtual conversation with a specific exhibitor. The exhibitor sees a list of attendees in a queue and chooses one at a time to have a video conversation with. Even if the virtual exhibition hall is not open, attendees can still visit it and view exhibitor profiles and download brochures in advance of the exhibition hall opening. Today's event also has the meeting hub enabled on the right-hand side of your timeline. This is where you can connect with other delegates and share contact details for future communications. Finally, if you're experiencing any technical difficulties or simply want to ask a question about your timeline, live support is available to all attendees throughout the virtual event by clicking on the support icon along the top right-hand side of your screen. You'll be connected to a member of the support team who will answer any queries you may have. But that's it from me for now. I'm pleased to say all the buyer and exhibitor stands are now open, and I hope you all have an enjoyable and productive day. Thank you.